And welcome back to the Clinical School Adventures vlog. This time you'll be joining me for a typical day on clinical placement, covering the day on the ward itself and the evening that follows. A full day normally requires an early morning if I want to make the ward round. Getting in at 8:30 means I can help with preparing patient notes before the round begins, meaning I'm actually somewhat useful. We do have the option of wearing scrubs when we're in the hospital, but I really like the idea of dressing smart for the wards, so at the moment I prefer not to wear the scrubs. Another thing, which really completes the look, is having your stethoscope handy around your neck, though I promise it's not just an accessory. My day can then consist of practicing skills such as taking history from patients or carrying out a physical examination on them, and if I'm lucky there'll be something for me to do to help out the team as well, such as taking bloods or inserting a cannula, among other tasks. My breakfast is usually quite brief. I usually have some type of granola mix and a fruit like bananas or strawberries, or in this case blueberries. Then I'll mix it all up with either oat milk or yogurt. Oh, and if I'm lucky, I'll have some coffee as well. We're very lucky that the accommodation provided is on the hospital grounds. This means the walk to the hospital is a quick 30 seconds, so I'm usually on the ward within 5 minutes of leaving the door. Hello, it's now noon. Let's pick you up. It's now noon, I'm back in my room for lunch. It's been a decent morning on the wards. It's been one of those days actually where on the wards there are things to do here and there. It's a little quiet. I'm, kind of thinking, should I be back in my room doing some revision, or is it good that I'm here on the wards when there isn't much going on? I spoke to some patients about their history and why they're in the hospital. I did some cognitive assessments. They're abbreviated to MOCA, MOCAs. Did a couple of those with some patients. And there are a couple things to do this afternoon, which hopefully I'll get a chance to. Might do some practical procedures, hopefully some bloods or cannulations are available for me to do. Maybe some patient observations, like their blood pressure, oxygen saturation, things like that. So it's been one of those mornings. A lot of us fourth year medics have found this is the case sometimes. You don't know if you're butting in on the team hard at work, where it's appropriate to ask a question. A lot of the time it is appropriate, but a lot of us deal with the feeling of just getting in the way. But the people on the ward tell us we're not in the way, and it's just a matter of getting used to it and knowing when to ask questions and when to be proactive. It's part of the whole learning process. I'm just gonna have some lunch now, and then I'll head back for the afternoon. So that was a quick update, and I'll probably update you in the evening. Alright, I'm back from my afternoon on the ward. We're back to the nice camera again because I'm in my room, and it is currently just past 5 o'clock. And just before I move on to talk about my afternoon, I realized my tone in the previous clip about my morning sounded kind of mixed, like I had a mixed experience. And to be honest, I did. As I said, I got to do some things, but at the same time, there were moments where I felt like I was just getting in the way, and even though the staff never say I'm in the way, you just feel like you don't know what you're doing sometimes. And it's part of the learning experience. It gets better with every day, and it just happens. But thankfully, it did pick up this afternoon. And I think one of the key differences this afternoon was that there were other medical students around with me. I was the only student on the ward this morning, and this afternoon there were a couple of us, and that just makes a whole difference because there's a bunch of you in the same boat now. And at the same time, there are a load more things that we could do this afternoon than there were in the morning. So one great thing was I got to cannulate my first patient. A cannulation is pretty much just putting a small tube into the arm of the patient and keeping that in there so that you have access to the blood. This means you can infuse some medications intravenously, or you could be administering some fluids if the patient is dehydrated, for example. So that was really exciting because I got to sign off one of my practical skills. We have a big list of skills this year to sign off to prove that we're competent at a bunch of things. Another really cool thing I got to do was to take blood from a PICC line, which stands for a peripherally inserted central catheter. This is essentially a long tube that goes from the arm to just the top of the heart, doesn't go into the heart. And once again, this allows for constant access to the patient's blood. So I got to do that as well, which was very cool. We also got some teaching from some of the junior doctors, which was great. There's always some impromptu patient case or scenario, which opens up some teaching opportunities for us to listen to some of the doctors explain the situation. But anyway, it's, like I said, past 5 p.m. I have a lecture at 5:30, and I also have a supervision after that. After that, I've got to cook and eat, and then hopefully do some work and get some sleep, because it's been a long day and it's gonna be an early start tomorrow. Okay, so my evenings can be really varied. I might have a lecture on clinical research, and other times I might have a supervision in which we cover a topic such as diseases of the respiratory system or how to interpret an ECG. I'm also doing a little bit of work with the neurosurgery research team at the moment, which is quite cool, and a good chunk of time can sometimes be spent on that. In the same vein, I'm also the secretary of the University Society of Neurosurgery, and we have regular meetings that I attend. Otherwise, evenings on placement consist of dealing with admin tasks like emails and organizing my days ahead. Of course, I've also got to sort out dinner, and I usually watch YouTube while I eat. On this particular evening, I had a lecture, then a supervision once I got back from the wards. I prepared some food, watched some YouTube, did some work, and got to sleep by around midnight, ready to rinse and repeat. So, that was my day. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.